10. Okay, hang on. It's my last show of the day. I'm a little goofy. I'm drinking some organic coffee.
Oh, nice. I'm drinking some water.
I probably should be. Okay, this is going to be a great show. We're right down the street from each other. We could have actually done this
I could
sitting
have come
side by side.
over.
Right? No kidding. Okay, let's see here. All right. Let me check the sound. Sound is good. Okay. But okay. All right. So let's give it let me give it a minute and a half.
Mhm.
Hello, Karen Starr, Nasia, Cricket Holden, Delia Flores. Give them just a little bit of time. Let me share it through the network. This is going to be a good show because I have no idea what it's going to be about.
Excellent. I love when that happens.
Right? Yeah. This is our fourth and final episode today. And I have to get in there and count. But I think we're over 850 episodes now.
That's
We're gonna have
wonderful.
to do we're gonna have to do something for the 900th episode. God, it's moving fast, and as fast as Morgan's loading these things, we'll be at 1,000 probably by the 10th of April.
Oh,
So hopefully
that's
we'll have
amazing.
hopefully we'll have our own site launched by then. But you know what? The universe is never in a rush and always on time. So we're totally unattached to when that happens. I'm just sitting here. Yeah, we got 19 people in the house. Hello, everybody. Oh, we got a whole big crowd here. Willow Lantern Dress. Jenna Babachi, sending you healing, peace, and love and comfort. Thank you for being so courageous and putting all your stuff out there every day, inspiring people. 3 a.m. in the UK. Okay.
Wow.
We got Kathy Waldowski, Lily Howard's here, Kenton Turner, Linda Boston, Janie Hodges, Mashinu Light. Jan Lemuri's here. We had a great show with him yesterday. It's got already about 3,500 views. I'm looking forward to collaborating with him again. Sherry Whiting, David Sampson. Let's see. Laws Mitchell's here. Suzanne Lanouette. Raquel Toombs, my friend from Canada, and Julie Dara Roberts, big time light worker up in the Boston area. All right. So we've got a special show today. This is my favorite way to do it, spontaneously with somebody I've never met before, so we can get to know each other on camera.
I love it.
In front of everybody. But I can tell before I formally roll, or let me roll it out by hello, Queensland, Australia. Let me roll it out by giving you a little bit of a backdrop on this incredible bio here. I'm not going to read it all, but
No.
I'm going to read the high points. Our guest, her name is Jennifer Victoria Bell. I just found out she's actually from northern New Jersey. She's here probably about 2 miles from where I'm sitting in Walua. I can't pronounce these Hawaiian names yet. She's a master intuitive healer, consciousness engineer, direct channel source light, certified practitioner and trainer of soul language. We're going to talk about this. Certified sacred DNA method restructurista, and a founder of the devotional school and universal technologies of Pleiadian love and light. Her passion is and purpose is to shepherd transformational light leaders into their sacred mission through soul language identification, through building new human structures for receiving, and through consciousness restructuring. She believes that we were built to embody the divine in unique ways, and it is her passion to help others to clearly express and anchor these unique talents and abilities. Jennifer is the go-to person if you're searching for deeper connection to yourself, to energy, to your clients, and to the divine. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited that you live so close, like that way behind me.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just crazy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I don't know if you've watched the shows much. I was asking Morgan, how did we hook up with this guest? And she said some divine feminine had sent several names. So I guess that's how it happened. But I like to ask people, especially if they've been in the game a long time. It's not a game, but you know, if they've been doing this a long time, especially pre-2012. I have a feeling you have. I
Mhm.
like to ask them, when did you wake up?
Well, that's an interesting question because I would say there's been a part of me that's been awake since I was very young, because things that happened to me, I knew not to share certain things with my parents because I knew that they would not be able to help me, and that what they would tell me would, I didn't want them to tell me what my experience was. So I always had that. That was always awake, that part. But then when I really, really woke up, it was probably, I'd say around 2007. And
Wow.
and like it was leading up to that, but I had a big moment because I was in the yard in New Jersey with my dog, and Jesus showed up in front of me. And technically I'm Jewish. So in a Jewish household, we don't talk about Jesus. So my first thing I said to him, "Why are you here? I'm a little Jewish girl. You know, to go find a little Christian girl to talk to."
Yeah. Mine started with what I would refer to as the cosmic Christ. I mean, and I wasn't Jewish, but I wasn't religious. I was spiritual, but I wasn't religious. So I can relate. So what happened? What did he say?
Well, I mean, I renounced religion at 5. I told my parents, I went to Hebrew school one day and I looked at the rabbi and I said, "He can't teach me." And I just told my parents I wasn't going back. I didn't tell them why.
You were a burgeoning star seed at 5.
Yeah, I was like, nope, nope. So basically, Jesus just told me all of my lives. He told me about my lives, and he told me about the next steps I needed to take. And I just said, okay, like,
yeah, like pass the butter.
Yeah, it was like playing. It was, I'm not a person. I feel like when the divine speaks to you, they should be able to speak to you the way you speak.
Yeah. That's the way it happened for me. A lot of F-bombs.
A lot of F-bombs. Yeah, a lot of F-bombs. There's not a problem. If you speak with F-bombs, they're going to F-bomb you.
Yeah, they did. It was like
So what was the F-bomb to you? Like, what was the, like?
Oh, I don't think it was F-bomb so much, but they would speak a little bit locker room with me, like get your ass up and go, or what do you do? I mean, yeah, and even but not really. I don't think F-bombs. I probably dropped a few F-bombs, like, what the F is going on? I'm following your orders, but I'm stranded in the middle of America and I have no money and it's snowing outside, things like that. But we've all been through that. I want to go back to the 5-year-old thing. You must have had something going on, a higher understanding or connection to rebel so quickly at that age, or not rebel, but to push back and say, that's just not in alignment with me.
I would say I was a very quiet child and I liked my space. I spent a lot of time alone. But when I knew something, I just knew it, and but I wasn't loud about it. I just said, I'm not going back there. I don't want to. And because I wasn't a child who was like, most indigo children are rebellious and have to argue about it. I just said no. And because I almost never said no, my parents said, okay.
Wow. And so then fast forward to 2007. So when the consciousness of Jesus came in, he told you not just about this life, he told you about other lives. Was that right?
He did. Yeah. He told me about other lives that I had and what I needed to do next. And it was important that I actually saw him. Like, for me, like, he had to show himself to me, and then it was a telepathic communication. It wasn't like hearing his voice. It was all telepathic.
And so this was pre-2012 and pre-expansion of the awareness of what we call the ascension. Now, up to that point, were you doing any type of practice? Were you a practitioner? Were you aware of some of the commonalities today that people are more aware of?
I had started in 1998. I started a yoga teacher training. So I had done 3 years of Iyengar yoga teacher training. And And I went to massage school to learn anatomy. And once I started working with people, I made this commitment to be present. I just said, okay, I want to be present. I don't want to be thinking about doing my laundry while I'm working on these people. I don't want to think about going to the store. I don't want to think about my crap. I just want to be present to me and to them and to the environment. And because I made that commitment, everything just opened up. So I would just work on people, and I would sense things, and when I sensed them, I would just ask questions. And so I didn't.
So you were already connecting through the touch. You were connecting, right?
But, yeah. And I could look at someone and go, "Oh, I just could look." I would look at, even in yoga class, I go, "You have asthma," and they're like, "How did you know?" And it's just because their body just literally like projected asthma at me.
Wow.
So
wow.
I thought that was all kind of normal and like not a big deal. And I just kept following it.
There was there was an incredible lady on for the first time about 10 days ago named Sheila Sen. And she has a really interesting upbringing. I can't remember it all, but her father was Bengali. And so he was Hindu. And very, very incredible doctor. I think they lived in the UK. And at a very early age, he taught her how to massage him. She was a little girl, and she would step on his back. And because and the interesting thing was, I had asked her later in the show, I said, "What's the most impactful divine episode, or what's one of you most connected?" And she said, "When I have my hands on somebody, or I'm gardening." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, that's pretty incredible." So you were that awake. Now up to 2007, had you seen anybody talking about ascension or anything like that?
No, not. I mean, I knew about being psychic. I knew about clairaudience, and I knew about all the senses. And I had a lot of experience actually as a child, because I lived in a haunted house, and I also had a visitation from an ET one night as a child, and all those things. I knew the adults around me couldn't help me understand them, so I always just kept those experiences to myself.
Were you as calm and cool about these things as you are now then?
Yeah.
I got that impression that you were. So, for example, when you had the Star family walk in to the door, were you in your bedroom, or what happened? I mean, they just come in and start talking to you?
We had moved we moved to the beach, and my father had to rezone the heat. So I had to sleep in a room that was like the window was facing the porch. And so I woke up because there was this huge bright light in the window. When I looked up, it was a big white glowing being with eyes. And I looked at it and I said, "I don't know what you want, and I can't understand you." So I'm going to just go back to sleep, and I'm going to put my head on the covers over my head because you're too bright. And I just went back to sleep because I didn't have a reference point to know what they wanted.
But you knew well enough to know that that the adults couldn't help you.
They couldn't help me. Yeah, no, and there wasn't the internet, so I just said, okay, I'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah. And so, okay, so now we go back to 2007 and we're moving forward. Was there a time when you started to realize that maybe that collectively something was occurring here on the earth?
Yeah, I started to, once that happened in 2007, I started to be more aware of collective energies. I started to really refine my empathic sensibilities, because I believe we're all empaths. I believe that we can, once we know that there are ways to work with your system so that you're not soggy, you're not, and part of it is that, if you think about it, like I had to do some work to refine, because everything is speaking to us, like, like this crystal speaking to us, but like, my shirt, it can speak. Everything has a consciousness, and we're that empathic where we're actually taking it all in. We're taking it all in subconsciously, and it's like for me, it was about, I had to be very centered. And I feel like very cohesive. And then that way it's easy for me to be able to know what's speaking the loudest, which direction to move in. Is it the crystal? Is it the water speaking to me? Is it this? What is it? So then I became more sensitive to the environment, and I understood. I could feel that people were waking up. It was like lights. I sensed like lights, like this burst of light happening, and like all over the planet, like boom, 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 like the lights are being turned on.
Yeah.
But
keep going.
I also sensed, because of where I live so close to New York City, I would sense I call them the powers that, like the agenda energies. I could feel them putting shellac, like
1%.
over, the shellac, over. I could feel it like as if they were putting like a thick layer of dense something, so people weren't waking up. And I was like, what is that crap? So then I was starting to tune in that way.
Wow. I'm surprised you never got a visit from the Men in Black with that frequency going out
there.
And that,
because
as close as you were to that metropolitan area.
Well, because it was very clear for me to keep myself under the radar. I always had the message, just keep yourself under the radar, because I was still, I was refining and refining and refining. Like I have over 25,000 hours of working on bodies. I calculated it. It's probably closer to 30,000, which is a lot.
That's huge, considering there's, from my old corporate career, there's 2,280 work hours in a year. So you're talking 10 straight years of working on people. Wow.
It's a lot. So it's a lot of hours of working on bodies. And that's divine intelligence. Your body is divine intelligence. It's the same thing as working with a crystal or a flower and anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I guess, as time went on, your practice widened because of the description. You get into some things. That I've never heard before, which I think one had to do with light. Wasn't light language. It was, what was the term?
Soul language. Soul language.
Yeah. And here it was talking about. Here we go. So let's see. So, okay. Soul language identification. Now, what is that?
So I didn't create that. In fact, the person who created it lived 3 miles from me in New Jersey. And her name is Jennifer Urezio. Cool. And one of the reasons I knew, like I had seen her years ago, and I said, that's not time yet. And then when it was time, I reached out, and I decided to have my soul languages identified. And I realized one of the things that's different about me is I could never sense guides. I felt this one vibration always, and it comes to, for me to understand, like I understood after having my soul language identified that that's my soul. So that was always louder than everything else. Like I could connect with archangels and ascended masters, but they were never like my guides, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when I reached out to her and I got my soul languages identified, which are the 3 core energies of soul. It's your axiom of quest, or your why you're here as a human. The axiom of translation, which is you are fuel for your why, the fuel for your mission on planet Earth. And it's the how. And you're more known for your how than you are for your why. And then there's the tone, which is how I like to call it like the vibration that carries the how and why into the world in a harmonized way. And I like that. Like I'll get trained in certain modalities when I really like what they do, which is, I think so many people, we're all waking up, and a lot of people are waking up and they have no idea what to do with all the information that's streaming in. And this gives them a way to understand how their soul is translating.
Wow. Bingo. I'm really trying to stay conscious and aware on this program of people that are watching it live or the replay, because we're starting to get a lot of replays, because a lot of practitioners have been telling me for the last 2, 3, 4 months that they're getting a lot of people coming to them that are just waking up and they are wondering what's going on. So if you would, can you just, as an example, like, keep going with this and go a little bit deeper if you wouldn't mind.
No, I don't mind.
Like these things that you're talking about, the how you said is the most prominent part. What is the how? Is that the style you do it?
I'll tell you more. So there are 107 different core energies. There are 19 languages that go with the mission, like the why. There are 33 that go with the how or the fuel, and 55 that go with the tone. And there's like something like 1 in 34,000 people have the same combination on the planet. So not even if you have the same combination of languages as someone else, it's more rare. But it doesn't make you the same. It's like having a very similar astrological chart.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead, and then I'll explain. I'll tell you what mine are, and then you'll understand.
Okay. So, and I just wanted to clarify. So these are languages. You're calling them languages, right? Now you're talking about like light languages, or
no? It's just that's why I'll explain, because it helps you to understand how your soul is speaking to you, how it's moving through your body, how you are. I look at it as if we're a biocomputer, like that's the analogy I like to use. We're a biocomputer, and we're running programming. Soul language is the programming language that helps you decipher all the other languages. Meaning it helps it's like a cipher. So my personal language is my why, or my axiom of quest is negotiator, which is like, well, what? It's people get tripped up by the name sometimes, but it means I can look at people and I can see what they're creating, what agreements they're creating that are keeping them in limitation and lack consciousness, or keeping them in a consciousness that's not I would say that's a conditioned love consciousness. And then I help them create a new deal that's based on love. My how is teacher of integrity. Now, people get tripped up with integrity all the time, because when someone's in integrity, they don't accuse people of being out of integrity. That's not what happens. Integrity means that you are integrating things based on the love that you are in your system. And it's just a vibration of integrity. So what happens is usually people will, when they get around me, and I don't have to even say anything, they'll start to feel where they're judging themselves. It'll become very loud in their mind, and I don't have to say anything, because it's something that's out of integrity with love.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
So it just happens. And then my tone is shepherd. So I lovingly shepherd people into love, into peace, into balance. And it seems like there are some people that might feel limited by that, but it's only because they're limiting themselves in some way. And how I usually help people is I help them feel the energy of it. It's not about connecting to what the words are. It's the energy of your own soul and how it's moving through you already. Because people aren't aware of that. Yeah.
So these words that you're using are really more like frequencies, or they don't align with the typical old paradigm or 3D dictionary.
No.
I got you. like that negotiators to me was like kind of like a facilitator navigator, like help you navigate. Yeah. What a great combination. What a great combination. Now, what other things do you do in your practice? Are these one-on-one sessions? I guess you do some hands-on still, or can you cover
I'm going to start doing hands-on here. I closed my practice in New Jersey when I moved here in April. And I'm going to transfer I have an acupuncture license. I'm also an acupuncturist. So, and I usually do things very differently, and I do body work. So, I'll do hands-on stuff, but I also work on restructuring the DNA. I like to help people connect to their own DNA so they can learn how to work with it.
Yeah.
Most of what I do is I want to empower people. Like, I don't need to be the person all the time that helps you. Here's your
Yeah.
system. Here's this energy center. Tune into this. What does it feel like? Like my everything I offer is always going to be about helping people more aware and more conscious, and of their own soul moving in their body.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, that seems to be the rising
Yeah.
frequency now when it comes
Yeah.
to healers and energy workers is,
Mhm.
1, 2, 3 visits. Like I know Morgan, my wife, she's 3 visits. That's it. And she's been doing it for not quite a number of years. And you see a lot of people doing that,
Yeah.
that whole vibration of, being hooked in for, week after week or month after month seems to be dropping. Have you seen over the last 2-3 years in your journey, have you seen an evolution in your clientele? Have you seen collectively they're changing and becoming more empowered and waking up more, that type of thing?
They are, and a lot of them are starting to do they're starting to work on the DNA. Some of them are offering healing modalities. And one of the things I'm doing right now, I do have a program I'm running where I'm helping a few of my clients to birth their own healing modality from their soul.
Very cool.
Which is really interesting to be a part of that, because it's like being a birth coach for something, and and sometimes it's like, you can do it.
push.
Yeah.
So, hey, you're fun. We'll have to get together. How did you end up in Kauai?
Oh, that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just talking about my the way it happened to me on the last show, but how was it, just quickly? I mean, did you get the call to come here? Was there something from a higher level guiding you here?
I was asked to assist a retreat. And so I came here to assist a retreat. And when I was here, every chance the island could get, it threw me in the water somehow. So I knew it's what it was. I didn't know then, but the island was purifying me. It was giving me malama, which is, how it purifies. And I realized that it wasn't doing it to anyone else. So it was invested in me being here. And a lot of things happened on that retreat. And I at the end of the retreat, I realized, like, the island basically spoke to me and said, you can't live in New Jersey anymore. Yeah. You can't be in the marriage you're in anymore. You're both going to wither and die, and it's not in integrity. You can't live your soul's mission there anymore, and you have to come here. And I was like, okay. I checked and double and triple checked, but the island was speaking to me in my dreams, and it was very powerful.
Yeah, I've met quite a few people on my journey here, and they've had similar experiences. I've had a similar experience. I think I was purified in the first few weeks I was here. It wasn't malama. I don't know what that is. I think it was lava.
Lava.
I'm just kidding. But so do you feel like a goddess presence here in the personality of the island? Or does it have a gender in your opinion?
Well, I feel like goddess energy could also be male. Yeah. So it feels mothering. It feels very feminine. Yeah. And it's very nurturing. It's very interesting. It's, there's so many things that have happened since I moved here, and it's the nature speaks here all the time. It's very loud. It's very rich. It's, hiking to the center of the island. I didn't make it back to the back wall yet, but I've gone to the triple waterfalls, and I had a big branch slack me in the face and say, Jennifer, don't take life so personally. I mean, it's talking, especially at the center, because it's like prime forest. It's pristine. Not many people go back there.
Yeah. When Morgan gets back, we'll have to hook up with you. We'll have to go out there.
Yeah.
we've been around the island quite a bit until we found a place to settle, or the island provided us a place to settle.
Mm.
As we walked in faith with it. I'll just say that. But yeah, some incredible experiences. Really, it's an incredible place, and there's powerful places all over the world, obviously. But yeah, that's really interesting. I was just curious as how you ended up here. So and so, like, I mean, you were saying that you had the language of your soul, the one thread
Teacher.
coming in.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and then you made the remark that you able to connect to ascendeds and angels, archangels. What essences are you more resonant with? Divine essences.
Well, dragons are very big for me. And I think it's because I have such a connection with nature. And so, but not just earth dragons, any dragons from anywhere are usually my first connection point into another place, because I have this high resonance with them. But I had like a curriculum, basically when I started working on bodies and things started opening up, it was like mediumship opened first. And once I got really good at that, it was like I graduated, and then Ascended Masters stepped in. And I got really good at that. And then Archangel stepped in. I got really good at that. And I remember the day Archangel Michael said to me, now you're going to work with star beings. And he was just, whoop, gone. And so then I started working with star beings, and that was that.
And then you mentioned, Morgan just sent me a note. No, we're not going to wait that long. Sometime this week, if she's available. So.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So. Now that really interests me, because it all interests me. I love this job. It's a great job.
What you're doing is incredible. Really, what you're doing is really incredible. And I just want to take a moment to express my appreciation for being here and gratitude for what the big thing that you're doing.
Well, I'm half of I'm just the front person.
And Morgan too. And Morgan too. Yeah.
So so now for me, mine started about 7.5 years ago, and it was very much the religious icon essences. I knew they weren't tied to the literal Bible and all that.
Yeah.
But until I met Morgan, who's straight galactic, I didn't even know what an alien was. So that part of it's been really impactful, and I try to stress that with people because, again, I try to represent the audience and those that are just waking up, because I see the similarity in what most of us went through, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, especially when there was nobody talking about it. And I see them asking those questions, kind of like what you were talking about earlier. But the galactic part of it, how did that go down? You mentioned Pleiadians. Do you have some type of kindredness with the Pleiadian Seven Sisters?
I have. Okay. So I worked with Gene Ang. He does the Arcturian healing method, and I really loved it. Because, what attracted me to Gene Ang was that I got to learn how to bend spoons. I love stuff like that. And he says he's Arcturian, and he teaches, a healing method. And so I started studying with him, and then I took a break. And when I took a break, the Palladian stepped in and said, we've been waiting for you to just take a break with the Arcturians, because we have something for you. And it was the Palladian dragons, really. And I said, okay. And I started to realize something about myself, which was, I don't feel a kindred with any one star being. I feel a kindred with all. And the Palladians, what I realized is we're working on levels of density. So we're densest consciousness. So the next up from us, as far as the star beings or galactic, are Palladians. Yeah. And so, but they're for me, the reason why they're so, we want you to bring, let's bring this in. This is the thing that we want, we can work with you to bring it forward, which is, people want, I feel like there's a lot of people that are waking up and they're so uncomfortable in their human story, in their body. And the Palladians were saying that like people need to restore their relationship with life itself. There's so much trauma here that in order to move forward as a collective, this needs to happen. So one of the technologies is the Palladian Life Restorer, and it helps to restore your relationship with life itself if I were to transmit it. And I can transmit it into an energy center, just leave it as a more open transmission, so that it'll go where it needs to go. But it's really, it was like an interesting, like, well, that's a big thing you're asking, like, for me to deliver. But there's so much to it. There's the Palladian flower of life is one of the technologies. And even they have, the Palladians gave me a golden bee technology. And that is to cleanse and energize the physical body and energy bodies, because like, this is the way that I see it, because like the one thing I understand is I'm a pretty clear translator for nature's design language. And what's happening is, especially if you look at the GMOs and the chemtrails, everything is the agenda-wise is gearing. The agenda is to keep us from having things in our environment that remind us of our own pure design language.
Yeah.
And so if we can get rid of bees and the reproductive energy that they supply, like that they're a part of, we get cut off from our reproductive creativity. Yeah. So it's like, and sometimes I'm like, this is like, this is a big honor for me to be able to be the person who's saying, this is what we can offer ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And go ahead.
Well, because I feel like, I want people to be able, if they're going to be channels, if they're going to want to channel a star being or, an archangel or ascended master, I want them to feel in their vehicle for channeling. I want them to be able to be in that deep love for the vehicle of the channel, which is the body, and to understand that, like, sometimes I see people channeling and there's a lot of fear in there. And I know if they're channeling a star being, that I know that there's not a lot of fear messaging that comes from star beings. I know it's coming from their human trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's centered on us. And, some people go through, an experience, and like, I can't even think of the last time I had what I would call dark energy or whatever you want to call it. But when I did in the early years after being awoke, they were emanating from me. I mean, my energy was because that was in my field, So, and I read a piece on just the same subject just this morning, which was really saying the same thing. Yeah. Now let me ask you: do you have plans to? It sounds like, and from what I've seen, the intel I've gotten on a personal level, and what I've seen, just observing the energy and what I do, is that this is the year that the divine feminine really opens up her throat chakra and comes out. Are you planning on trying to expand awareness of the Pleiadian codes and programs that you've been given, and that type of thing?
If I do, I'm going to Egypt in March, the end of March and the beginning of April. So right now everything is I'm partially there already. So when I come back, I know I'll have more information. So I'm basically just enjoying being here. And how that comes forward will be interesting, because Egypt is all about embodiment.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see what's going to open from there. And I do tone a lot. I do use toning in my, when I work with people, or I'll have them tone, because of the vibration. Like, if you think about all the beings that are out there, how many can actually create sound that's conscious? Like,
Oh, you mean like to control the sound that they're making, or with intention?
mhm.
Can you give us an example of the type of toning you do?
Yeah, I'll ask. All right, so I'll ask.
Or anything that you want to do. This is Soulogy.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
Yeah.
all freestyle.
Okay, so I'm just getting a. Oh, all right. So the other thing, because so the Sasquatch, it's like not the plating dragons. It's the wise ones that want to bring in a tone. So
Elders.
whatever, yeah, they want to bring it. So and they're saying it's a little bit of honor for you. Do you have a connection with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have. I mean, I'm like you. I feel connected to everything, but I have had I've had some Sasquatch connections since 2 summers ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying this is in honor of you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. That's like orgasmic. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry? It's okay. Yeah.
I think it's interesting too. I feel like, we actually are having this conversation in front of everybody. But
yeah, we are.
But the dragons never really came into my field until maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I ended up coming here. And then you were talking about the dragon energy, and I wanted to ask you about this. There's Amira Beth. I don't know if you've met her.
I know Amira. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're all going to have to start getting together. So, but yeah, what I noticed was I had went to Sedona before. I didn't even know I was coming here. I went to Sedona, and it was very masculine. The grandfather
very
rock
masculine.
was speaking. Yep. I mean, I was driving down the road, like doing these chants, and I'm, just like things were happening and all kinds of initiations. I thought that I was going to be launching and expanding Soulogy there. And then I got the call here. And as soon as I got here, the first thing I felt was that same nurturing you're talking about. And it was like, no, you're going to do it with the mother from the womb. And I'm like, whoa. But to get to my point, for the next 4 or 5 weeks, all I saw was dragons. I mean, everywhere I went, where I was staying in the backyard, I mean, all the trees would turn into dragons. And they were it was all feminine, but it was a powerful, powerful feminine, very powerful, know. And now, do you have that same feeling here and experience here?
I'll tell you I would say the most feminine dragon experience I have here is at Mahalapu. Have you gone to Mahalapu yet?
I don't know one place from the other. If you say it by the name, it's like, no, I can't even go. I can't even pronounce Kapapa.
you know where Poipu is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's like a cave trail there, and then beyond that is beyond. Yes, that's Mahalapu.
Okay. We're actually going. Morgan just put it up here, so let me make sure we get that right. Yeah, we're going to meet Amira on, I believe it's Wednesday.
In Mahalapu? Yeah, she'll show you the dragon's breath.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that if you go past the labyrinth and up into the trees, there's this, it actually looks like a Vesica Pisces. And the dragons told me that that's a dragon birthing womb because there's water coming in. And it's like the womb of the dragons. And Kuamo'o Road, which I live off of, means backbone of the dragon.
Wow. To me, I mean, it's just, people used to talk about dragons all the time. My good friend Katie Endicrow's like, I'm a dragon, I'm like, okay. But I've had a lot on a personal level. Morgan and I, we experience a lot of things together. I mean, constantly when we're together, it's just like, It's like
That's
like a fantasy every day. So,
yeah.
but for me, it was about 5 weeks ago.
Mhm.
It wasn't even that long ago. It was like maybe 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And we were up in Princeville,
Mhm.
and I was just on the cusp of actually pulling in, I'll just use these terms, like pulling in the full Father God, full masculine,
Yeah.
no BS,
Mhm.
game on kind of thing. And so it was after a really elevating night that we had together, where we
Mhm.
spoke our truth, and it was just this whole thing. So I wake up the next morning, and of course I'm out there by the Dragon in Honolulu,
Yeah.
the pub thing, and I'm sitting on the couch, and this dragon, and of course I've seen Morgan, this happened to Morgan many times, something jumps into her,
Mhm.
but this dragon just jumped into me. Like,
Mhm.
and I mean, like I was going to throw up. I was like, what's going on? She's like, you're just having an aspect jump into you. I'm like, but yeah, the dragon energy here has been extremely powerful and helpful.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that, that it coincides with, what you get and where you live and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do a lot of work merged with dragons, even if I don't tell people, because, and when you were talking before about all the things that like the dark stuff, like when we first wake up, people don't realize they're detoxing their consciousness.
Yeah.
And so a lot of stuff, even if they're tuning in and, it gets into I would say their field of connection, and they don't really know, they're not sure what it is. So it could look demonic. And I believe that, there are demons. I don't not believe that. I believe that there are, and then I believe that they're not. I hold both truths as true.
Yeah.
And part of it is because I've worked with people that they believe that they exist or they don't. And
Yeah.
I have to work within their belief system to help them.
Yeah.
So it's not my job to decide if they're real or not. It's only my job to really just help that person not feel tormented.
Yeah. Yeah. And any and all things are possible. I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing that, I see people, and I don't, it wasn't so rough with me, I don't think, but because I made peace with whatever you want to call it, the dark or whatever, a long time ago. But it's like, we can be open-minded on the lighter side of things, but when it comes to being open-minded on the darker side of things, you're like, okay, we're going to stop here. But there's seems to be, when you do throw an absolute down and deny or resist, that you're going to come and get a good visit.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Yeah, you're gonna get a good visit. And honestly, I feel like if we're all just levels of consciousness, more dense, less dense, then if people are acting out in ways that are just ugly and seem evil and hateful, then there's got to be things in the spirit world that have that too.
Yeah.
So for me, but the thing is it's just neutral, and it's not, you can't love them away, and you have, and just based on my soul and what it's shown me, and I'm very comfortable with the wrathful deities of Buddhism. They're and it's very telling if you're working with dragon energy that there are some things that have to be purified. So if you're a resident with dragon energy, they're going to help you purify things, and they're going to help you be able to do it in a way where you're not creating more of that. Yeah.
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't play.
No, they don't. They don't play.
I think that one of the first times, I think maybe the first time I had a experience was really dimensionally. And so I was like, okay, how do I create magic? How do I get off of this hobo template?
Template. I love that.
Yeah. And so, it's like, go to the bottom of the sea. So I it did happen here, I think. And so I go into the bottom of the sea, and there's this cave, and there's these two dragons, right? And they're like, this is where you make your magic. I'm like, okay. And they're like, but you got to tell us something before you can go in. Like what have you learned? Like, snatch the pebble from my hand, or we're going to bite your head off.
Yeah.
It was, but also, since I've been here, and it hasn't happened in a while, but that first few weeks before Morgan got here, I think they were preparing me actually. So, but it was very it was beyond nurturing. It was like the love was like kind of like Sasquatch, the elders.
Yes.
That love that's like, whoa, it's just like, wow. No matter what they tell you or how hard they may seem, it's you're in good hands. So
no, there's always love. You always feel the love. I mean, you do, and I've done, when you're doing more like collective work with the dragons, work on the planet, which I do, I'll merge with them and they'll eat you. I mean, they'll dismember you in the vision, because that's a shamanic thing. And so if I teach people about it, I have to say, a dragon might actually eat you. If you do this, just allow it to happen, because it's important that it happens, because they're helping you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if they put some salt and pepper on you, I might be concerned.
I might consider a little barbecue sauce. I would be definitely concerned.
That might not be the dragon. Yeah, that might not be the dragon.
If they throw you on a spit and start roasting you.
Yeah. Wow, this has been a fun hour. I can't wait to get in touch with you. I have a feeling we'll be getting in touch with you probably within the next 24 hours. So,
excellent. Thank you so much. And really,
we'll do it again. If you want to, we'll do it again, and maybe get together, and maybe you can come over and we can do a little something and do some.
I'll come over. I'll bring the dragons. We'll hang out.
Oh my God! If you start going into that New Jersey stick, I'm going to be all over it. Yeah. I love watching that. I love to watch clips when I want to, comedy clips from movies. Whenever I want to, decompress. And I've been watching the Analyze This.
Those are great clips.
I know, man. He's like, what about the guy? I'm like, what guy? The guy. What are we talking about? The first thing or the second thing? What's the first thing? I don't know. You're the one that asked. You're the one that brought it up. Yeah, but I love that. I spent time in New York and New Jersey after I left my home a couple 2.5 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. It was really it was dense, like you said, but it was a great place. Kind of a uni level of learning to integrate anything and everything.
So
it really helped me in that regard. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you very soon. I have a feeling we'll see each other this week.
Yay!
And, I'm happy that we've met a friend here, and best to you and yours. Be talking to you real soon.
Yeah. I can't wait to meet you in Morgan in person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
everybody. Thank you. Great final show today.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.